now we're going to go to Steve Turnberger and Sports Update. Steve?
Thank you, Bob. A very appetizing restaurant corner as usual. You know, the big thing this week in high school football, Mount Pleasant wrapped up their Flight B championship last week against Wilmington. Big shutout victory, 16-0 over the Red Devils. Mount Pleasant is 7-0-1 on the season. Can you believe it? The Green Knights have come out of nowhere. Last year they finished 3-5-1, and in 1979 they finished 0-8-1. That was the first year of head man Dave Need's coaching reign at Mount Pleasant High School. He came down from Westchester, has turned that program around so brilliantly. I had a chance to talk to Dave Needs last week after the big victory over Wilmington.
Looking ahead till next week, Coach, the game that people have been talking about all year long, Archmere Mount Pleasant, be played right here. Your feelings about Archmere?
Well, it's what I told you last night. I couldn't think about that until this time. I said 1:30, but it's actually 3 minutes to 1, and I'm very pleased to say we are looking forward to playing Archmere. I mean, no disrespect to Archmere because they are an outstanding football team, but Billy Doyle is such a super coach. I think he could probably coach 10 nuns and retired priests to the state tournament. He's just an outstanding guy and a good friend of mine, and I look forward to the challenge, win or lose or tie, whatever the situation might be.
Let's take another step ahead. I know you don't want to look ahead to the state tournament. 3 weeks from today, of course, you'll have a week off with your final game against Claymont. A lot of people think that can be beneficial. That can be a negative factor. What are your feelings?
Well, I think it's going to be beneficial to us. We've gone 10 straight weeks. We've had 2 or 3 kids hurt for stretches of time where we've had, where they were out for 2 or 3 weeks. I look at it as an outstanding opportunity for us to heal some of our kids up, to go over parts of the game that, quite frankly, we're not satisfied with. I think it's going to be great for us. And I mean, I think it's great for us because we're going to have a late November and maybe an early December.
Okay, Coach. Great luck in next week's game against Archmere.
Dave Needs, head man out at Mount Pleasant High School, taking on Archmere Academy this weekend. That will be a showdown. Get out to Mount Pleasant High School, 2:30 p.m. kickoff. It'll be a great game, the best Division II ball game of the season, possibly a preview to the 1981 Division II State Championship, which will be coming up the first Saturday in December. Looking at our state's top 10 this week on the Focus Delaware Sports Update. Of course, you'll see Mount Pleasant in there again this week. Your #1 team in the state for the first time this year outright, William Penn. They are 7-1. A blowout victory last week against Brandywine. They ran up 56 points. Pete Johnson, Mike Barnes, Joe Burton and company, they are a good football team. #2, Seaford. They are 7-0 on the year. How good are the Blue Jays? I don't know. I talked to Ed Shockley tonight of Jack of Diamonds. He has some ties down in Seaford. He thinks it's a good football team. I agree with him. The Blue Jays could go a long way in the state tournament. Sally's, what's happened to Slasianum? They lost to Crossland 2 weeks ago. Tied Baltimore Poly on Friday night. They're 5-1-1. They're a good club. Look for them in the state tournament, along with Glasgow, 6-1 on the year. As we said, Mount Pleasant, undefeated, 7-0-1. Your only Division II team in the state, unbeaten thus far. Dickinson, coming out of nowhere. Mitch White, a super sub quarterback, coming in for Tom Coder, injured against William Penn 3 weeks ago. Tom Coder could play some quarterback this week. They're 5-1-1, a good shot at the state tournament. Archmere, #7, 6-2. Bill Doyle looking for a 6th straight tournament appearance. And Newark, 5-2, a tough loss against Dickinson last weekend. They have a showdown next Saturday against William Penn. We'll tell you about that one next week. Downstate and Henlope and South, Smyrna, 5-2. They look like they will win the Henlope and Conference Southern Division Championship and move into the state tournament. And St. Elizabeth's hanging in there at 4-2-1. They are #10 in the state, a good football club. They have an outside shot at making a state tournament. Quickly, looking at your big games this week, St. Mark's versus Salesianum, Friday night at Baynard Stadium, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Del Castle at William Penn at 1:30. Great ball game year in and year out. The Cougars could give the Colonials a lot of trouble. And of course, as we said, Archmere against Archmere against Mount Pleasant, Saturday afternoon at 2:30. Not a 1:30 start, a 2:30 kickoff. Get out to Mount Pleasant and see some great football action. We'd like to remind you the volleyball tournaments open up on Saturday afternoon. Soccer action starts next week. And field hockey also next week. Get out there and see some great field hockey, soccer, and volleyball action, and of course football this Saturday afternoon at your area high schools. I'm Steve Turnberger for Focus Delaware Sports. Stay tuned for more of Focus Delaware right after this time out. Jack of Diamonds is coming right up.